We wake up, we commute, we scroll, and we sleep. Most of our daily actions happen on pure autopilot, dictated by ingrained habits rather than conscious choices. We are, effectively, sleepwalking through our own lives, reacting mechanically to whatever happens around us. If you look to modern Western academia to understand this condition, you hit a dead end. Conventional education maps out the world using fragmented theories and hyper-specialized intellectual concepts, leaving the observer entirely out of the equation. In the late 19th century, a seeker named George Gurdjieff recognized the limits of this purely intellectual approach. Gurdjieff was a mystic and philosopher who dedicated his life to understanding the full extent of human potential and the mechanisms of consciousness. He proposed a radical alternative. Objective truth exists, but it cannot be found in university libraries. To find it, one must track down living, carefully guarded lineages of ancient wisdom that actively practice the methods of human awakening. Gurdjieff abandoned the known world. He plunged into the unforgiving terrains of Central Asia, the Middle East, and North Africa, navigating vast swaths of forgotten empires. He bypassed the routes of casual tourists. He systematically hunted for hermits, dervishes, and isolated communities to uncover practical, rigorous methodologies for self-transformation. His physical trek across these harsh deserts and mountains served as the exact catalyst he needed. The external hardship mirrored an intense internal exploration of his own psychological limits. One of his earliest major objectives was locating the legendary Sarmung Monastery. This was the rumored stronghold of the Brotherhood of the Sarman, an ancient and highly secretive esoteric society in Central Asia. He believed these hidden communities acted as the ultimate guardians of a pristine, unbroken chain of knowledge, preserved carefully through centuries of regional turmoil. Finding them required passing intense scrutiny. Gurdjieff noted that gaining access to their teachings involved rigorous testing designed to measure a person's inner sincerity and readiness to change, completely ignoring their raw intellectual capacity. Inside these monasteries, information had zero theoretical value. Knowledge was treated strictly as a practical tool, deployed solely for the radical development of human consciousness. The journey eventually led him into the vibrant cultures of the Middle East. Here, he immersed himself in the historically traceable centers of Sufi mysticism. He observed the practices of Sufi dervishes, members of an ascetic Islamic mystic sect. He studied their mesmerizing, whirling rituals and philosophical poetry, recognizing them as highly refined paths to inner spiritual development. Gurdjieff learned their sacred dances. These were precise, intentional choreographies designed to deliberately bypass the thinking mind and force the body, emotions, and intellect to harmonize. Modern education treats the intellect as the only valid tool for learning. Gurdjieff realized the physical body is an equally vital vehicle for spiritual work, holding memory and potential that we routinely ignore. Gurdjieff's research extended beyond living practitioners to the very structures of the ancient world. He looked for universal principles hidden in their architectural and mathematical systems. He argued that the precise geometry of the Egyptian pyramids and Mesopotamian ziggurats were not just feats of engineering. To Gurdjieff, these structures functioned as physical records of the same cosmic laws that govern human existence. The law of three states every manifestation results from active, passive, and neutralizing forces. But the law of seven shows progression isn't linear. Processes inevitably hit intervals where momentum stalls. Bridging these gaps requires an external shock of conscious effort to continue development. Gurdjieff concluded that ancient myths and architecture were sophisticated tools for communicating these universal laws. He spent his life translating these symbolic observations into a practical system that a modern person could actually use to wake up. Gurdjieff took this vast tapestry of encounters and synthesized it into a cohesive system of self-development known as the Fourth Way. At the core of the Fourth Way is the practice of self-remembering. This requires maintaining a simultaneous awareness of your physical body, your feelings, and your thoughts in the exact present moment, refusing to get lost in a single reaction. He introduced the concepts of conscious labor and intentional suffering, This means deliberately engaging with life's daily frustrations and challenges, using them as friction to force inner growth. This integrated approach demands that all parts of the human organism work together. It stands in stark contrast to the highly fragmented, mind-heavy methods of Western thought. The fourth way operates as a practical technology of awakening. Reading about it doesn't do it. It demands direct application and physical experience. So let's put your own instruments to the test right now. We can move from historical theory to personal application. Try the intentional pause exercise. 3 times today at completely random intervals. Stop whatever you are doing. Mid-keystroke, mid-step, or mid-sentence. Freeze your body. Remain perfectly still and silent for 1 full minute. Feel the weight of your posture. Observe the rhythm of your breath. And notice your surroundings without judging any of it. Then resume your task with active attention. This small act of breaking your own automaticity introduces the friction required for change. It is the essential first step toward the self-remembering that Gurdjieff pulled from the whispers of ancient lands.